board meeting. And we have Mary Oftenkamp, who is the Rotary District Governor of District 6600. I don't see Keith yet. We also have members from several of our neighboring Rotary clubs, Mansfield, Loudonville, and Shelby. And we share a particular bond with both the Mansfield Club and the Loudonville Club. The Mansfield Club, which celebrated its centennial in 2020, sponsored our club when we were founded in 1922. In turn, the Ashland Club sponsored the Loudonville Club in 1924. So our three clubs here that are in kind of a triangle are all linked. The Mansfield president, Cindy Woods, and the Loudonville president, Brian Hartzell, are both here tonight. Could you stand up, please? We're also glad to have with us some folks from Shelby. Robert Rutt is the president-elect, so he'll be coming in, and Alan Hocker is the treasurer-elect, so it's good to have them here. They are celebrating their 100th anniversary in 2026, so they have a few years to go. And their spouses joined too, so it's nice to see that. One of the best parts of getting ready for the centennial celebration has been digging through the archives and the old photos and club records. And studying the list of past presidents has been both inspiring and somewhat humbling, since it includes many of the names of those who have shaped the Ashland community during the past century. We have many of those past presidents here tonight. So anyone who is a past president, if you would please stand. Now my guess is, Lloyd, you were the president in 1970 to 71? 71. Lloyd Wygant was the president in 1970 to 71, and his wife Norma's father, Don Hostetler, who was the mayor too at one point, he was the president in 1946 and 47. So the Wygants have quite the Rotary legacy there. Another important recognition in Rotary is being a Paul Harris Fellow. And it's a special honor in Rotary because it recognizes individuals who have contributed or who have had contributions made in their names of at least $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation. Would all Paul Harris Fellows please stand? We have a particularly special Paul Harris Fellow who is a member of our club. He's a past president and is currently the assistant governor, district governor for this area. And I've had this, what did I do with it? I had this little box in my pocket, or not in my pocket, in my possession for more than a year to present to Lee Peters. But between COVID and Lee working in Baltimore and not being present at meetings during the week, we haven't had a chance to present it to him. So we thought we would take that opportunity to do that tonight. It's a 2 ruby Paul Harris pin. It represents giving at an $8,000 level. Okay? However, in talking to District Governor Mary last week, I understand that we're a little bit behind the times here because Lee and his wife Dawn were recognized at the district conference just a week ago at even a higher level. So if District Governor Mary could come up and she can explain the additional honors, and if she can put this outdated pin on Mr. Peters, we'd appreciate it. Lee, come up. And Don, why don't you come up too?
Thank you, President Ted, and it's really great to be with you, and happy anniversary. This is awesome, 100 years. Is anybody in the room 100 years old? Just checking, there could be, we're living a long, long time. So yes, at the district conference, we had beautiful weather in Geneva on the lake. It was like summertime, and we had the privilege of recognizing Lee and Dawn with a major donor. And what does that mean to be a major donor? That means they gave $10,000 of their personal resources to become a major donor. Now, someone can make you a Paul Harris by giving you points. So for every dollar I give to the Rotary Foundation until I get 1,000, then that is a Paul Harris Fellow. But for each dollar I get a point. And I can bestow 1,000 points on someone and make them a Paul Harris Fellow. So they gave $10,000 of their personal resources. And do you know that money goes to help people that they will never have the privilege of meeting? Our Rotary world is wonderful. Our foundation is second to none. And I'm not sure what you're going to do with a pin that has 2 rubies now that you're a major donor. And you have like this big crystal block. And the major donor pin is this one. It's blue and it has like a little diamond and it has Paul Harris's face on it. And then you have something behind this. This means Paul Harris Society. That's another financial contribution that Lee and his wife have made. So you can, I'll put this on you because I was told by the Commander-in-Chief to do so. So congratulations.
Great, thank you.
Probably have. You've had the opportunity to do an immunization in another country, and Rotary Dollars makes that happen. So that is really something that's important as we continue on in our goals and serving others. This is the Changemaker year, the Serve to Change Lives year, and these 2 people definitely have made a change in someone's life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do just want to say, a contribution, it seems like a lot. You know, 10,000, I sit there and think, wow, I don't even remember making that kind of money. But really, when I break it down, it's $88.33 a month is $1,000 a year. And you know, with the mayor bringing all these nice restaurants into town, one night at one of these nice restaurants downtown cost me sometimes more than $80. So anyway, it's a matter of priorities. I read the district or the Rotary magazine, and I'm thrilled that we all get the Rotary magazine. Tom has made sure that we all get that. And every time I read that, it's about people that go around the world, they visit another country, and they create a nonprofit, and they get their district involved, and their clubs involved. And there's opportunities to do that. And I think there's momentum in our club to do an international service project. And it comes down to having the foundation be able to sponsor and match those contributions. And that's why I give to the Rotary Foundation. I really encourage everybody else to do the same.
Thank you, and congratulations to both Lee and Dawn. 2 quick bits of business before we move into the heart of our program. Mitch Pisker, could you come up and talk about fireworks?
Sure. One of my favorite subjects. Don't blow your finger off. All right, as we have done, as Rotary has done for over 30, 40 years, 35 years, we sponsor the fireworks. We bring a great show here in Ashland. In the last couple of years, it's been a little more challenging because of COVID, of course. I'm sorry, Stacy, we weren't supposed to mention that. But anyways, we've had to evolve because of the fireworks, and I think we made it better. So the last couple of years have been good. This year's not going to be any different. We have the same vendor lined up as we have the last couple of years. It's going to be another fantastic show. Sponsor letters are out. Money's coming in already, which is great. A couple years ago, we started something new, and that is what we call the super raffle. So 150 raffle tickets that we printed. They're numbered from 001 to 150. Go figure, right? So $100 a piece, and there's a maximum of 150 tickets available. So if you buy a ticket, and if you are a lucky winner, and there's one person in this room who was lucky enough to win last year, you get half the pot. The other half goes towards our endowment fund, which we created a couple years ago to just keep the fireworks sustainability going for the future years. So it's been a great program. I was thinking this really isn't the venue to try to push and sell tickets, but I brought them anyway. So you know what I look like. If you want a ticket, come see me. It's for a great cause, of course. We're just 5 weeks away from fireworks, believe it or not. So far, we're off to a good start this year. Let's finish with a bang.
This is at least the third year that Mitch has headed up our fireworks efforts, and he's done a great job. Thank you, Mitch, for all your efforts on this. I think one of our club's proudest moments, at least in recent years, is back in 2020 when we were in the middle of a pandemic and we weren't quite sure what this stuff was that we were facing, and people were canceling pretty much everything. And we came about that close, I think, to canceling our fireworks. And we said, let's go ahead and Bill Buckingham was very passionate about it, that we needed to push forward. And the beauty of where we shoot our fireworks off is you can have socially distant fireworks. And we paid some extra to have them shot higher so you can see them, and they can see them all the way out to the fairgrounds. And I think the community really loved that and appreciated it. And like I said, I think that's one of our club's highlights, at least of, I don't think I was president yet. I think Mitch was still president that year. But thanks to Mitch for his efforts on making sure that Ashland has its fireworks and celebrates our nation's heritage. I want to take this opportunity to say a few thank yous before we move on. President-elect Stacy Sheeman has done an outstanding job spearheading this event. I think we've got a nice crowd. The room looks beautiful. She's done a great job planning it and keeping it organized, and she had a big assist from her United Way sidekick, Missy Ziegler. Dave Kowalka spent countless hours going through the road. Well, first he had to locate the Rotary archives. Jan Archer helped some with that, figuring out where they had been moved and all the shuffles up at AU over the years. Going through the archives, and spent hours going through pictures and reading. He said at one point he read 25 years worth of newsletters, and locating some artifacts that are over there, including this podium. We found this podium. We don't know what the history is behind it. We thought it would be appropriate to use. And if you haven't looked at the display over there, please take some time to do it. There's some really interesting stuff from our history. Dustin Crudy digitized the photos that Dave found. So now we have digital copies of these photos for our archives moving forward, and put together a slideshow. And then Tom Repke merged it with the video that the crew did for the 90th anniversary video. 10 years ago, Jan Archer and Lindsay and Seth Gachet and Julie Wright were involved in that effort to put that together. So we decided to let it run through. It's just looping through. If you look up there, you see a lot of people look a lot younger at one point. And again, thanks to Steve for presenting his music for us again. Could we all give those a round of applause? one other item. After the program and before dessert, could everyone gather up here in the front? Everyone, spouses, guests, for a group picture. And Liz Osfeld has graciously agreed to stick around and take that picture for us. And we'll make it as quick as possible. And then once we've gotten the picture, everybody can have dessert. And then on the way out, make sure that you pick up your commemorative coaster. I meant to bring one up. But we were trying to think of something, some commemorative item, and we came up with a coaster of our new clock that's going downtown, which we'll talk a little bit about here today. So that takes care of the business. Past, present, and future has kind of been our working theme as we plan this celebration throughout our centennial year. Tonight we celebrate the Ashland Rotary Club's impact on the Ashland community over the past half century. We contemplate the present and we look forward to the future. I'm going to turn it over here to our resident storyteller and 40-year member, Dave Kowalka, to share a bit about our club's past.
10 boxes of wonderful things, for the most part. Do you want the minutes from 1922? We had them all. Do you want the 4-column spread in the Times Gazette every Wednesday of what happened at Rotary in their 2-hour meetings? We have that too. No, I'm not going to read all that to you. I've got a short thing here and some help from my friends. Rotary International came to Ashland, Ohio officially on May 2nd, 1922, and no, I was not a founding member. It was chartered as club number 1150 with 23 charter members.
That's 1922 basically.
Even though the Rotary Club of Ashland was organized 17 years after the first club was formed, Ashland was still number 1150, indicating how popular the idea of Paul Harris was. By 1922, Rotary not only had 1150 clubs, but they were located in cities in more than 20 countries. The official name has been changed to Rotary International. Considering the tremendous growth of Rotary International from 1922, the year of Ashland's chartering, to now, they have experienced a position in that growth we are justly proud. Our sponsoring club was Mansfield, under the leadership of Walter Hamilton. The procedure of the organization was as follows. Now wait, all those boxes, I got mixed up. So I have some Rotarians and friends to help me out. So if I call on you for an answer, do you have them? Okay, good. March 7th, 1922, a temporary organization was set up at a dinner held at the Hotel Otter, which was located on the south side, now occupied by number 1.
Chinese
Say that
restaurant.
I'm old.
The Chinese restaurant on Main.
Okay. It's across the street from the Peking restaurant, where the Peking is now was a hotel diner. Lunch was $1.25, including coffee and dessert. March 20th, 1922, a permanent organization was effected at the Ashland YMCA, then located on East Main Street. April 17th, 1922, a dinner meeting was held with Dr. Lewis Akers, the local Methodist minister. Number 2, who was the first noonday luncheon? When was the first noonday luncheon held at the Hotel Otter? Number 2.
April 24th, 1922.
Thank you. We had a Rotary indoctrination that night with Dr. Henry Roner of Mansfield. Number 3, when was the installation ceremonies conducted by the Mansfield Rotary Club? Number 3.
May 2nd, 1922. There were installation ceremonies conducted by the Rotary Club.
Thank you. Thank you. The district governor read a message from number 4.
President of the United States, Warren G. Harding.
Thank you. Weekly meetings at noon have followed for all these years, with few exceptions. In the beginning, programs tended to feature local issues of the day. But as time passed, interest in educational and professional matters on state, national, and global level echoed the broadening impact of Rotary International. The Rotary Club of Ashland has for more than 3 decades met at noon on Tuesdays. Where were these noon meetings held, number 5?
They were noon meetings at the Ashland Country Club.
Thank you, sir. The earliest meetings were held at the Hotel Otter, then the YMCA. Rotary Club soon moved to a less expensive location. $1 a quarter was a bit much in 1922. Later locations included Perlay's Cafeteria on East Main, several churches, and a period of time at Production Credit. Rotary is indeed a fellowship club. Its members are known by first name, and there's always room for friendly fun. In 1922, Rotary met for 1.5 to 2 hours every Tuesday and sang, Jan, between 5 and 7 songs. And we had invited speakers with interesting, informative topics of the day. How much coverage, number 6, was the Rotary Club of Ashland given in the Ashland Times Gazette?
The Ashland Times Gazette published a 3 to 4 column article each Wednesday documenting the activities, projects, songs, special speakers, and the general fellowship.
In small print, too. Okay. But then, Rotary is much more than that. It's beyond all else a service club. The ideal of service is seen as a basis of worthy enterprise on the part of every Rotarian, be it for his or her own life, for the community, or for global involvement. Service above self is a phrase well known among Rotarians. The Rotary Club is committed to support many community projects, working with number 7, which Ashland business group did the Rotary Club of Ashland work with closely?
The Ashland Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Number 8, which fledgling group of volunteers for Ashland did the Rotary Club support?
The Ashland Rotary Club supported and still supports United Way.
Thank you. We support United Way, public schools, Ashland College, now Ashland University, and certain public functions, such as sponsoring Ashland fireworks. The Rotary Club of Ashland has started 3 endowment funds in the past few years. One was for number 9.
One of the endowment funds Rotary has started supports scholarships.
Thank you. And number 10, one was for?
The Ashland Rotary Club has sponsored the fireworks for nearly 40 years.
Thank you. And number 11, the third endowment fund?
The third endowment fund, sponsored by the Rotary Club, is a community fund.
Thank you. Throughout the years, Rotary Club of Ashland has had a significant number of Paul Harris Fellows. Each Paul Harris Fellow represents $1,000 or more donated to the club by the person or the foundation or members. The Rotary Club of Ashland presently has, number 12, how many Paul Harris Fellows?
The Rotary Club of Ashland has donated $1,000 for 68 Paul Harris Fellows.
68, thank you. 22 Paul Harris Fellows donated another $1,000 for another Paul Harris Fellow. Through its 100 years of service, our Rotary Club of Ashland has continued to be a respected group, encouraging the development of our Ashland community. Recently, the Rotary Club has demonstrated service above self through a wide range of community projects. Number 13, what excellent center does Rotary Club support with mulch?
We have repeatedly spread mulch at the Ashland Senior Center facility.
Thank you, sir. Packing bags of kid-friendly items for lunches were completed a few weeks ago at the Ashland Associated Charities. Right, Chris?
Yes.
Number 14, how much are Rotary raffle tickets for the July 4th fireworks?
You already know this, but Rotary members sell and purchase raffle tickets at $100 each to help support our July 4th fireworks. Mitch Piscar, a member from Armstrong, handles this project.
Thank you. Often the winner is a Rotary member. Mitch Piscar. Would you raise your hand, please?
Here.
He has some tickets. Number 15. What special book project does Rotary continue to help fund for our youngsters in Ashland?
The Ashland County West Holmes Career Center handles the Rotary-sponsored bookcase project.
It's a wonderful project. You can't believe those kids' faces when they get that bookcase with their name on a brass plaque on the front and 60 brand new books just for them. So much joy in reading. The Veteran Bus Project, which travels to Washington every year, is partially sponsored by our Rotary Club. Number 16. What is the Nutty Project Rotarians stand in the cold for in both Ashland and Loudonville?
Fresh cashews, honey roasted cashews, and deluxe mixed nuts are sold by our Rotarians during the Christmas holiday. Special thank you to Lisa Armstrong.
Number 17. What holiday event has our club sponsored using breakfast, art activities, the Polar Express, and photos with Santa?
Breakfast with Santa has been held twice. Now, I'm not Santa, so fine breakfast, holiday, art activities. A storyteller weaves the real Polar Express for young and older listeners prior to visiting Santa himself, and each receive a photo with Santa.
And thanks to Dustin Grudy for organizing that. Now, this aside, I tell the Polar Express story there for all these kids and parents. I tell the real story because it was me that experienced that. So I show up at the breakfast in pajamas and a bathrobe and slippers. So I was walking around talking to people, and some lady said, "Honey, how's the food here?" I said I heard a party going on, so I came downstairs. Club and community members of all ages, about 150 volunteers this year, recently helped clean up the city during the third annual number 18.
Ashland Make Ashland Sparkle.
Thank you, sir. As Tom Repke said, Ashland Sparkle was much more fun than a Rotary meeting, watching families and kids having a great time. Rotary is the lead organizer of Ashland Sparkle. But, number 19, what are the other organizations who support Sparkle?
The Ashland County Ministerial Association, the City of Ashland, and the Norma Foundation are also key to this event.
Thank you. When COVID shots were distributed in Ashland, Ashland Rotary Club was there, helping guide community members through the organized event. A group of young leaders in Ashland, members of the Leadership Ashland organization, are served by our club as the physical agent for their class projects. Members say they hope service becomes even more a part of the club, building off Ashland Sparkle and other recent service projects. Our Rotary Club now has about 40 members, around 25 active ones. Number 20, what is the percentage of men and women in our club?
I am proud to say we presently have 65 men and 35 women.
Thank you, thank you.
That
may not seem...
It's the percentage.
Yeah, it's percentage, yes. It's percentages. That may not seem like very many women, but when you consider 23 charter members were part of the club's installation, all men. Dave Kowalik with me told the story of when he was president of Rotary in 1986. Rotary International said you had to allow women to become members. Dave welcomed the change. Some members complained that if that happened, we would have matching placemats and napkins. The next meeting, we had two ladies invited to the club, and they accepted membership, Kay Conrad and Jan Archer. And nobody complained after that. Recently, we have inducted 6 women as members. How many lady members of Rotary Club of Ashland are inducted in the Paul Harris Fellows since 1990, number 21?
We have had 10 ladies become Paul Harris Fellows since 1990.
Are you one of them? The list of Paul Harris Fellows, I should say fellows and fellowettes, I guess I'm fellows, is on a table back there. Weekly attendance was required. Missing a few meetings meant you were no longer a Rotary member. We have gone from meeting weekly to twice a month, on the first and third Thursdays of the month. President Ted said, younger people don't have that flexibility in their schedules, so that's why we went to every other week. We started that about a year and a half ago. Members, until recently, were required to wear name badges and their Rotary pin, or be fined. Tom Repke said, as with the changes in attendance and rules for fines, Rotary has evolved with the times and will continue to do so. Tonight's 100th anniversary celebration includes memorabilia and photos from 1922 to last month. Number 22, which member of Rotary, also a past president, created the 150 photo slideshow of our history?
Mitch Pisker has wrapped on one side, sorry. Our slideshow of Rotarians, guests, and our projects was compiled by Rotarian Dusty Cruz.
Thank you. Tonight we have Cindy Woods, who is Mansfield's club's president, and her husband Brian.
Our husband.
Who's not here? Okay, good. Who could be here? I'm sorry. And her husband, period. Brian Harsel, new sentence, from Loudon Mills, sorry. Tom Repke states that our club is looking forward to more changes and is excited about the future. During the next 100 years, Ashland citizens and visitors to Ashland will be able to tell what time it is with our Rotary clock. 23. Where will the 100th anniversary Rotary clock be located?
Why, Dave, the 100th anniversary Rotary clock will be located in front of the Foundation Plaza in downtown Ashland.
Thank you. 24. When will the Rotary clock be installed?
Well, in spite of the fact that I went to Ohio State, I can read. The anniversary Rotary clock will be installed in September of 2022.
And there'll be a big event for that night. You'll be there, right?
I hope.
President Ted said the Community Foundation has been very helpful with our clock project, donating money and setting up the club's endowed community fund that will help maintain the clock. No, there's no ladder to wind it up at night. There will be a community celebration then for family-oriented things. Number 25, who is Stacy Sheeman?
That is me. There we go.
And Stacy, our next president, our president-elect, which will lead us for the next 100 years. She'll lead us into the 100 years.
That's right.
Showing our community Rotary plans to continue to serve for many years to come. In the next 100 years, look for July 4th fireworks, many continuing projects, some new projects, and a few revised service above self activities. Fellowship will continue. Visibility of Rotary and our projects will increase service of the Ashland community and will grow. Our history, and in particular, the efforts of our loyal members, have had much to do with the livelihood of the Ashland community. May we always remember the ideals of service above self, and the pledge of equality, and the four-way test, which is recited at every Rotary meeting. Let's all stand right now, read the sign, and say the pledge. 4 parts.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Dave. So we've examined our club's past. Now I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the present and laying out some possible plans for the future of the Rotary Club of Ashland. Over the past decade, our membership and attendance has slowly declined, feeling an impact similar to many such community legacy institutions. Coming out of the worst of the COVID lockdown, however, provided a unique window for us to explore our club's future. Thanks to the assistance from the Ashland County Community Foundation. Club leadership and members engaged in a productive strategic planning process with Jenny Talego about a year and a half ago. During that process, a comment from Glenn Stewart seemed to have summarized our situation best. Now, this is paraphrased, but Glenn said something like, "If we continue on this path, we will die." That seemed to crystallize the group's sentiment. Change is hard, but no one in the room wanted to be part of a failure. So coming out of that strategic planning process, we made several significant changes, of which several have been mentioned already. We switched to once every other Tuesday meetings instead of every week in light of decreased flexibility in people's work schedules. We altered our dues and meal structure to eliminate the perceptions that we were the most expensive club in town. I won't say who said that. We also expanded our corporate membership program where multiple people from the same company can share one membership. We agreed to focus more intensely on service above self, being a service organization that builds deeper connections and relationships with other projects and organizations. This Make Ashland Sparkle is a prime example of that. This was a response to what we heard from younger members who expressed a desire for more opportunities to serve. Related to that service element is a commitment to enhance our Strive Scholarship program at the Career Center. We want to make it more of a workforce development program, building upon our relationship with the Interact Club that we sponsored down there. Another goal is to begin laying the foundation for an international service project. Lee and his wife went to India as part of a polio immunization program several years ago, but really it's been a while since our club has had an international project. But we realize this is an effort that will probably take a year or two to develop and institute. But we've talked about the clock already. That was one of the major takeaways from this process, was that the Rotary Club of Ashland has no real physical presence in Ashland, something that represents our club's impact on the community. From that was born the Main Street Rotary Clock Project, a project enthusiastically endorsed by our mayor. In early September, a Rotary pedestal clock will be installed on Main Street right outside Foundation Plaza, the new community gathering spot downtown. This is our club's gift to the community celebrating Rotary's 100 years of service locally. A clock symbolizes the past, present, and future of time. It fits right in with our theme. I think it's neat that we borrowed or stole the idea from the Mansfield Club, which placed an identical clock in Carousel Park in downtown Mansfield on its 100th anniversary. I'm pleased to announce tonight that due to the generosity of many of you in this room, along with former club members and friends of Rotary, we've surpassed our $50,000 goal by $4,000, and we're still To me, this project represents more than just a clock. A component is an endowment fund that will not only provide for the maintenance of the clock, but will provide a building block for our club's future. By growing this endowment, let's call it the Centennial Fund, it will help support future projects locally and around the world. This Centennial Fund and our Buckingham Repke Fireworks Endowment was developed a couple years ago to help build a long-term base for the fireworks projects, are tools to expand our club's impact in the next 100 years. Our future looks promising. We're attracting younger members who are actively getting involved. as was mentioned previously. 5 of the last 6 of our class of new members were women. And there's a renewed sense of commitment to service above self with our monthly service projects. So, future looks bright. While we're looking ahead to this bright Rotary future, we must remember that the future is built on a foundation laid by those who have come before us. We want to take a moment to recognize our longest serving members, and their names are printed on the back of the program. So if your name's on the back of the program, please stand.
And if they would have let us in a long time ago, I might have.
It's hard, I mean, it's hard to believe the president of the Mansfield Club, who is the, secretary? Not the president, the secretary, Pat.
Pat was our first female.
And she has a really interesting story. Her boss, she was the executive secretary, was the president of the club. So he made her come along, take all the notes and everything. And she had to sit in the back of the room.
And she wasn't allowed to eat.
And wasn't allowed to eat. And then she became the first member. And it wasn't all that long ago.
And when she told me that story, and that was the summer of 1988, I was at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and Fort Bragg in a Special Operations Army unit in a U.S. Army uniform.
Pat is quite the character. I'd like to mention Bill Repke, who Tom says is joining us virtually here. Hi, Bill. Bill, at 54 years, is our longest serving member. And how many years was he has he been the secretary?
At least 25.
At least 25 or 30 years. And, you know, Bill's another one of those favorite Rotarians that you've got. And so, Bill, it's great that you were able to join us virtually. And on those slides somewhere I saw that Glenn Clayton, the former president of the university, was the longest serving member at 57 years. So Bill, you've got at least 3 more years to go. But thanks to all of you for your many decades of Rotarian service. We thought it'd be appropriate to end the evening hearing from one of these longtime members on what they see as the future of our club. Bill Buckingham, in particular, has been a source of wise counsel and encouragement for not only me, but my predecessor as president, Mitch Pisker, and my successor, Stacy Sheeman, who takes over in just 6 weeks. So the 3 of us asked Bill if he was willing to take on this task. So Bill, can you come up? Yes, sir.
Before you do that, can we do the proclamation?
Oh! We'll do that right in here. I'm not following your schedule, sorry. Come on up.
Okay, I'm coming. Take your time, everybody. President Ted asked me if I would take 2 or 3 minutes to talk about my life as a Rotarian. And reading this program for tonight, Bill Buckingham's under close of program, and then dessert and fellowship. So I think we can get to the fellowship and dessert
maybe 2 minutes. For a couple of reasons. One is I forgot my notes. So I didn't want to read this program to you. I'll tell you how I got here. In 1978, Martha and I moved to Ashland because it was closer to our parents. I actually worked for Warner and Swayze in Cleveland, and I was managing 2 plants on the west side of Cleveland. And so Martha and I had moved 13 times before that. Poor girl. And so we decided after a while in Ashland that that's where we were going to live. And so I decided I'd probably have to get another job someplace or buy a company. I really wanted to do that. I was tired of working for big companies, and we don't care much about what happens with their employees at different times. So I decided that I needed to get to know people, like Rotarians. And I'd never been in a service club before. First activity that I got involved in Ashland was United Way. And I worked for, I don't know, 8 years, something like that.
Long time, thank you.
And then I started looking to get into a service club because there's a lot of lawyers, bankers, people that had been in the community who could help somebody who was new to the community. So my first activity with Rotary was for me to get to meet people, because someday I was going to have to borrow money if I bought a company. And someday I'd have to have somebody, a lawyer with me to do this correctly. And I'd have to have a CPA and all of this. So anyhow, it worked out very nicely for me. One year I was driving back from Cleveland, parked at the airport for 3 hours because of the snow and ice. And I said, I gotta find that company. So I got home, and then there was obituaries of people who had passed recently, and one was a Mr. Spizak who owned Lake Erie Frozen Foods. And so Jim and I, Jim Hess, got busy, went over, got the information on the company, and after 5 or 6 months of negotiations, I was able to buy the company. And so the game was different. I wasn't playing with somebody else's money. It was my money, or our money, I should say. Martha would slap me for saying something like that. So, anyhow, I ended up becoming a member of Rotary. And through the years, there's been a lot of activities that we've all been involved in, because in the Rotary, there's something for you to do all the time. There's activities that you can get involved with, that you can have some fun doing it, and it helps our community. And so it's worth the effort to do it. So after I had met a lot of people, and I concentrated on being involved in Rotary. And I was really involved for a number of years, and then my son, who also works in the company, started running the company. Beach in the winter. And then Florida in the winter, Myrtle Beach wasn't warm enough. And so I spent the winters down south. And in fact, I just went down to Florida this year for the first time in the last 3 years or 4. But Ashland is my hometown. Not a townie, but I did have some activities in Ashland before that. I played for Marion Harding, and we played basketball twice a year with Ashland. And we had to come over here and play on that stage, which was weird. Because you weren't very far from the sidelines. Somebody give you a little whoop. We could have been that. And so we really did love this town, still do. And the Rotary has been an important part of our life. There's 3 or 4 things I can tell you that has really impressed me about Rotary. One was I watched the fireworks last year up, and that was magnificent. It was, well, it was great. And another time we had the junior high school kids come to our Rotary and make a presentation on doing some work on the soccer field. These kids got up and it was the best presentation I've ever seen in my life. These little kids got up in front of 40 or 50 adults that are staring at them and gave the presentation. I gave him a check for I left that day. I mean, that kid was talking to me. I don't know anything about soccer. I can't understand what they're doing. I don't know who's on defense and who's offense, but it was absolutely a great program. And that was a highlight of my career. And the other thing that I am proud about is the way Mitch and his fireworks committee took a hold of a problem that had been getting more difficult as time went on to do this. And I felt very strongly that we're losing enough of our honoring our country. So it was great. And so I'm honored to be the oldest. Am I the oldest one? Yes.
Yes, he is.
Okay. It's about time you guys started paying attention to your seniors. Very good. You could make it better for all of us seniors. Cut our property taxes. I got a whole list of things that I've got in your office someday. And I have a lot of great friends. And that's the other part. It's really great. I see my Rotarians all the time. And we have fun too as a group. And that's important. So anyhow, I think it's time for dessert and fellowship.
Like I said, Mitch and Stacy and I in particular, Bill has been a huge supporter of fireworks and endowment funds. So we appreciate everything you've done, your contributions to the community. Speaking of fireworks, Mayor Miller has been very helpful over the years and has helped organize things. And like I said before, as soon as I we went to him with this idea about a clock. He says, that's a good idea. So with that, Matt, I'm sorry to have overlooked you.
No problem.
But I guess you have one last piece of business.
I just want to make sure Mr. Buckingham hears every word.
All right. Well, Mr. Buckingham, here's the good news. Everything changes, but fortunately in Ashland, everything stays the same. And you know, what I want to say is, I want to remind you what it's like to live in Ashland, what a week is like in the city of Ashland. You know, it's Tuesday. It's relatively early in the week. And yet yesterday, Mr. Buckingham, I promise you I am not exaggerating, I crossed the hallway, come back, and a woman is standing there, and I look at her and I think, boy, she looks familiar. She's there to see me. I haven't seen her in 15 years. She was a valedictorian of one of our county school districts when she graduated. She's now 41. Extremely bright, extremely intelligent, to the point that it's intimidating to be in her presence. She lives in Columbus. She works at a major consulting firm that you'd recognize the name. She's making well into the six figures. And the reason she's there, she said, well, I wasn't expecting to be able to see you right away. Do you have a moment? And she came in to sit down, and what she wanted to talk to me about, and it was almost awkward in the beginning, but she said, I'm just done with Columbus. She said, you know, I've lived there, I have lots of friends there, but I'm tired of explaining why Ashland is special to everyone. I want to come back. She said, I'm fortunate that I have a great deal of capital saved, and I wanted to talk to you about, what do you need? What does the city need? I'm thinking about opening a business of some kind. Does that sound familiar? I get chills as I tell you that story, because who knows what business she may open here in our community. She's still trying to figure it out, but she has every intention of coming back and doing so. And you think about the contributions Mr. Buckingham has made to the community, and his family continues to make, because he showed up in Ashland with a little bit of capital, made a few friends at Rotary, and think about all of the community projects that have been impacted and made possible because of his and Martha's generosity. Her name is Juliet. Someday I may share the last name when we're at a ribbon cutting for her new business. That's Monday in the city of Ashland. It's Tuesday. It's early in the week. We're celebrating 100 years of the Rotary Club, one of the premier service clubs in our community. 100 years. Can you believe that? And it's only Tuesday. And furthermore, if you didn't get a glimpse at the news before you came, Charles River announced they're going to spend $220 million to build a new standalone laboratory in the city of Ashland. It'll be 200,000 square foot in size, and they expect to employ 550 people. Everyone from entry-level jobs around $18 an hour up to PhD jobs. And they can't wait to get the project started right here in the city of Ashland. It's only Tuesday. Tomorrow night, most of you made it possible, quite frankly, but we'll be gathered to break ground for a multi-million-dollar expansion to one of our community's most important community centers, the YMCA, right? And as I look around this room, many of you played a role in helping make that project a reality. You did that outside of your Rotary work. And you know what? It'll only be Wednesday. But the good news is Thursday's coming. And thanks to the generosity of some of your Rotarians, and thanks to a six-figure gift, Ashland is so excited to see the brand new archway erected at Union Street, so that as you enter historic Ashland's downtown, you'll see this giant archway with an industrial look. It'll be lit during the nighttime, and our name will be emblazoned on the top, and it should be installed on Thursday. And when September rolls around, one of the best parts of all is when you look through that arch as you're coming into historic downtown, you're going to look up that arch and up that main street, and you're going to see off to the right this beautiful historic clock in honor of 100 years of service from the Ashland Rotary Club. And in case you would have missed it, because you weren't familiar with the area, once that clock's erected, as soon as you hit that clock, you won't be able to not notice it. you'll turn to the right, and then you're going to see that beautiful Foundation Plaza that you might have otherwise missed because you were looking straight ahead when you drove by. But that's only Thursday. And then, of course, Friday will soon be here. And many of you are a part of it, will actually be dedicating our brand new pickleball courts, the 6-court complex at Congrove Park, breathing a totally new life and feel into Congrove Park. And if you haven't seen them, I don't play pickleball, but they look exceptional. And you know what? As you look around this room, I can start calling out names of those of you that are sitting here as Rotarians and Rotarian spouses who contribute to that $200,000 plus gift to our community. But that's just something to look forward to on Friday. And who knows what Saturday will bring. After all, it's a holiday weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend and the kickoff of summer, so good things are certainly around the corner. And thanks to you, all of these projects are happening. When you hear this proclamation, yes, it honors the work of the Rotary Club, all of you working together over the last 100 years, but it also reminds us that Rotarians serve the community not just as part of the club, but in our businesses, in our schools, in our newspapers, all across the community. By order of the Mayor of the City of Ashland, whereas the Rotary Club of Ashland has been an important part of our Ashland community for the past 100 years, volunteering thousands of hours of public service and generously donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to meet critical needs and support important projects all across our city and world. And whereas the members of our Rotary Club have provided leadership in our businesses, in our schools, in our charities, in our churches, for more than a century, even beyond their volunteer activities as Rotarians, and whereas the people of the City of Ashland continue to enjoy a higher quality of life because of the activities and services provided by our Ashland Rotary Club, whether that be through a Rotary-sponsored Independence Day fireworks display, a fatherhood initiative, or even a soon-to-be downtown landmark clock. Now, therefore, I, Matt Miller, Mayor of the great city of Ashland, Ohio, do hereby recognize and honor the Rotary Club of Ashland for your 100 years of service to our community. And I do hereby thank you for being a force for good in our community. Congratulations on your 100th anniversary.
Person was that Matt was speaking about, a former employee of mine. So. Okay.
Maybe she could start a newspaper. I mentioned that too.
I've been retired for 2.5 years. Okay, it's photo time. So, you ready, Liz? If everybody can just gather up here real quick, and after that, I'll ring the bell now. After that, we'll be adjourned.
2, 3. All right.
Okay, dessert and coasters.
I know. What is happening?
Oh, you got Dad in there?